Tip 1. Flirt with as many girls as humanly possible. Okay, maybe you don't want to do that, or well, maybe you do. But either way, tip number 1 is actually setting a clear and specific goal. Because we all have goals, we all have fitness goals. Some of you make New Year's resolutions, and that's what I'm going to talk a little bit about in this video. In this video right now, I'm going to show you 6 tips on how you can actually crush your 2020 goals. So you don't end up like the rest of the 95%, which is unfortunate, but we all know what happens with them. They set a goal, and 2 weeks later, the goal is not accomplished, and they're completely back to the way they used to be. I don't want that for you. But point number 6 that I want to make in this video is actually defining what your goals are and making them clear, making a clear, specific goal. Because if you don't have a clear, specific goal and you don't know where your goals are, you don't know where you're going, then how can you ever reach it? The problem is with people, their goals are too broad. They don't actually know where they're going. They're sort of like, well, I want to lose body fat. Yeah, but when and how much and how, and all of those different things come in. You need to know those things, because if it's not a clearly defined goal, there's no way you can get there. People will try and tell you there's secrets, there's hacks, there's tips, there's all those different things, but really there isn't. It's just hard work. And so if you actually are committed and you want to make a change this year, or any time in the year, it doesn't have to be January 1st or January 20th, that's all bullshit. What we need to do is set the goal, make it clear, and make sure you stay to the end of the video so that you actually get all of the information that you need. To accomplish any goal, you have to first know exactly what the goal is. And so I like to split it up into 2 sections, but just remember that one of my favourite quotes of all time is, "The man that chases 2 rabbits catches none." Okay, so counting down, tip number 6. Now you have to remember that before we can accomplish any goal, we have to actually know what the goal is. It has to be clear, specific, direct. It can't be, okay, I'm going to do this, this and this. I'm going to lose body fat. Yes, but how much body fat and by when? You can't have a goal that's not specific and clear. What I like to do is split it up into 2 sections to help you out. So the first section is actually short-term goals, and I'm going to make this simple for you, so don't worry. So short-term goals I define as things that we accomplish every single day up until about a 3-month period. So on the daily, every single week and every single month for up to 3 months is what I would define a short-term goal. So that might be, okay, this week I want to lose 1 pound of fat. And so you can measure that. And because it's a short-term goal, that means that it actually helps you stay on track. It helps you know for that week your goal is to lose 1 pound of body fat. So it's attainable and it's something that you can track. It's something that doesn't seem too far away. People set these big goals like, I'm going to put 20 pounds of muscle on, and that's fine. That's okay to have a big goal. But if you're aiming to put 20 pounds of muscle on and you have no short-term goals, the goal is that far away, it's years away, that you just can't stick to it and you end up giving in. So section number 2 that I like to split it up into is actually the long-term goals, is the bigger picture, the big vision, whatever that is for you. So let's say you wanted to build some muscle, maybe the bigger picture is to put 10 pounds of muscle on this year. And so that's the bigger picture, the bigger vision that you can think about, that you can think, okay, one day I would love to be here, and then you use the short-term goals to actually get there over time. I'm going to give you 2 examples of goals that you might have, and most people will fit into these categories. If you don't, just follow along and apply the steps. It will still apply and it will still work for you. So let's take somebody that wants to lose body fat. So let's say you're a beginner, you want to lose body fat, and your goal is to lose 1 to 2 pounds a week. Now, if you're a beginner, I would aim for 1 pound a week. If you've done it before and you actually know what you're doing, you can aim for 2. And you still might want to aim for 1. It depends on you. But let's just say you're aiming for 1 pound per week for this example. So your short-term goals would be to lose 1 pound a week. So I like to set 3-month goals, so we can break it down a lot easier that way. So let's say you want to lose 1 pound per week. Now if you did that over 3 months, that would equal 12 pounds. So every 4 weeks you would be losing 4 pounds. Obviously you times that by 3, and that way you've got £12. If you come out and say I'm going to lose £50 or £20 or whatever it is, or even 12, there's a good chance you won't do it. If you can break that down into months and then into the weeks, you can have those short-term goals that you know, okay, this week the only thing I need to do is lose £1 and do the things that I need to do every day to lose that £1. That's your goal. You don't have to be thinking about the bigger picture. Now, as most of you know, building muscle is a lot more of a difficult process for the body than to lose body fat. It takes a lot longer. So you wouldn't expect to gain as much muscle as you could lose body fat in the same amount of time in terms of weight. Having that said, let's say your goal is to put £6 on in 3 months. Now, you might not put a full £6 of muscle on in 3 months. It's possible, you probably won't. You're probably looking at actually putting about £3 of muscle on and £3 of body fat on, which is necessary because you have to place yourself in a calorie surplus to gain that muscle mass. Your goal might be to gain 0.5 pounds of muscle per week. So then you times that by 4, so each month you're looking at 2 pounds of muscle per month, or in this case 2 pounds of body weight, and then you times that by 3, and now you have the 6 pounds of muscle or body weight in that 3-month period. So we've pushed it up to 3 months and we've broke it back down again, so that every week you know what your goal is for that week. So now you actually know what your goal is and you know how to set your goal. So that's brilliant. And if you're getting any value from this video so far, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. I give 2 free YouTube videos every single week. Hopefully sometime in the future I can up that to 3 and give you more. And I also have a gift for you at the end if you stick around. And now we're moving into tip number 5. And this is all about setting deadlines for your goals. You can't have a goal without a deadline, and we sort of touched on that in the last point with having the 3-month goals, but I'm going to talk about it a little bit more in depth here and how it's so important and why it's so important. I'm going to make this point really quick because, like I said, we did touch on that a little bit earlier, but the point is you now know what your goal is. So let's say for you, let's say you're Bob, and let's say your goal is to lose 1 pound of body fat per week, and you're going to do that over the course of 3 months, and that's your deadline. You've set a 3-month deadline, and now your goal is to lose 1 pound of body fat per week. So you've set yourself up so far. We're sort of, as you can see, we're sort of moving down a ladder to get to where we want to be, and this is very important. It has to be strategic. Don't listen to people that tell you that you can just set a goal and accomplish it. You have to actually have the steps to know what to do next. For tip number 4, I'm going to talk about something I'm really passionate about, especially when it comes to accomplishing your goals, and that is the difference between motivation and discipline, and how one's going to work for you and one's going to work against you. There's a lot of people that think motivation is important. They think you need to be motivated to get in the gym or to stick to a diet or a nutrition plan, and it's the complete opposite. Motivation will actually make you fail, basically. If you are relying on motivation for you to accomplish your goals, you will fail. Motivation basically means that you feel like it. Motivation means that you're in the mood to do something. The challenge with that is sometimes we don't feel like it. Sometimes I don't feel like going to the gym. Sometimes I'm having a bad day. Sometimes I don't feel like eating the right foods. Sometimes I don't feel like getting out of bed in the morning. Every single person on planet Earth has those days, and that's where the problem comes in, because you might stick to your nutrition plan and you might actually enjoy the food you eat and enjoy training in the gym, but you might just not be quite feeling like it that day. You might be having a bad day for some reason. There's so many reasons in life we can have a bad day. The problem is if you've been relying on motivation for the last 2 weeks to get you through those workouts and you feel like it and you can't wait to go and you're really enjoying it and all those different things, which are good in the moment, the problem is now when you actually need self-discipline, you don't have any, because all the times before you just felt like it. Basically, self-discipline is doing what you're supposed to do all the time, whether you feel like it or not. So you set a goal, you know, I need to go to the gym Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. You wake up Monday morning, you can't wait to go to the gym. You're happy, you're running around the house, doing all sorts of somersaults and backflips and whatever, and you can't wait to go to the gym. You're going to crush your goals, everything's going to be brilliant. Wednesday comes along, exactly the same thing. You can't wait to go again. But then Friday comes along and you don't quite feel like it. You're a little bit tired, you've got a headache, maybe you had a few drinks the day before. Whatever the situation is, the only thing that will get you in the gym, the only thing that will get you to stick to that nutrition plan is not just making it attainable and sustainable and all of those good things. It's the self-discipline to say, okay, I'm not having the best day today, but these are the goals that I've set for myself and I'm going to do it. I'm a little bit tired, I've got a little bit of a headache, whatever the situation is. Maybe you had a bad day at work, you had a bad day at school, something happened to a family member, whatever it is, you have that self-discipline, and every single time you have a hard time, it comes to your brain and you go, okay, well, I can either not go and make an excuse, and sometimes we have valid excuses, but it's still an excuse, or we use our self-discipline and we go and we do it anyway. The way you build self-discipline is very simple. It's by actually doing what's difficult. It's the first few times, and it will happen to you if you've never trained before, if you've never stuck to a nutrition plan before. There will become a time, maybe a few weeks in, where you don't feel like it. And it's about when that happens, not thinking, okay, I don't like this feeling, I've never had this before. It's about then saying, okay, I recognise this feeling, I know what it's like now. James told me about it in that video, and now what I'm going to do is actually go anyway. What's the worst that's going to happen? In fact, actually afterwards, you're going to feel proud of yourself. And then by doing that, you build that habit in your brain that every single time it gets difficult, you do it anyway, no matter what. There's no excuses. It doesn't matter how bad you feel or how unhappy you are that day, you still go anyway. The important thing to note before we go on to tip number 3 as well is it's actually a good thing, because we only really grow, and I don't mean necessarily grow in terms of muscle size, I mean grow as a person when we're a little bit uncomfortable, when it's a little bit difficult. That's really the only time we grow. When it's comfortable, we're not growing. Such as, think about when you're sat down watching Netflix or whatever, you're not growing, and there's nothing wrong with Netflix and having some downtime and enjoying yourself, but you're not growing. You're only ever growing when you're doing things that are difficult, when you're doing things that sometimes you don't want to do, and sometimes require discipline to get in there and do them. That's the only time we're actually growing, and everybody wants to be moving forward in life. So this is another one that I'm really, really passionate about, and it's tip number 3, and that is find your why. Why are you actually doing this? And it's a serious question, and sometimes it seems obvious, but then when you actually sit back and think about it, all of a sudden you actually don't really know why. And you have to be able to define that. And in a second, I'm going to give you some advice and some extra little tips and tell you a little bit about my story very quickly, just so that you might be able to resonate with something and think, okay, yes, actually, that is the reason I'm doing it. And I know for a lot of young men especially, when we start, it's simple. It's almost the same for all of us. We want to get more girls, and we think by training, by getting a six-pack, by building more muscle, that girls will find us more attractive. That's really the reason most men start to train. It's okay to start out with that thought, but you really need a deeper reason why. If you want to live this lifestyle for, 20 years, 30 years and be in it forever, you have to have a reason that's deeper than just, I want to attract women. So let me tell you a very quick story about how I got started that I think will help you. So when I was 16 years old and I started out quite a hard time in school, I never really enjoyed school. It was something, it just wasn't for me. We're all different, and for me, the way they teach, the topics they teach about, it was never for me. I would get told a lot by school teachers and people around me that I'm not good enough, that I'll never amount to anything, that I can't go after the things I want, and all of those things are pointless and I need to focus on school. But for me, school was difficult, and so I had quite a lot of teasing and being called names, and I also suffer with dyslexia, and anybody that understands how that works and what that game's all about, it just means that you really struggle with spelling and struggle with reading and things like that, and you understand concepts quite deeply, but actually sometimes when it comes to reading and spelling, you struggle quite a lot. And I suffered with that. I still suffer with that to this day. The problem is when you're in school, people like to tease other people, and that's fine, but it opens the door up for people to start teasing you about your weaknesses and things like that. And so when I was growing up, I got to the point about 16 that I just wanted to make a change to prove that I didn't have to be brilliant in school. It didn't matter that I was suffering with dyslexia and all these other different things combined. I got to the point where I thought, you know what, I need to make a change, I need to do something. I was skinny, I was a skinny kid, and so I realised that I was going to have to get in the gym and do something, and I thought the way to gain respect, I think when I look back, a lot of the things I did and the reason I started to train was actually I just wanted to gain respect from people. I wanted people to actually notice me. And I think a lot of people want that. When you're growing up, you want to be noticed. You want women to notice you. You want your school friends and school teachers and adults to respect you when you're a kid. And so that was what got me started. That was my reason why. Your why will change over time, but I like to split it into two sections. Again, the reason I like to split it into two sections is you have the 20%, I call it. This is the external. This is the, oh, I want to attract more girls. I want to prove my school friends wrong. I want to be noticed more by other people. That should be your 20%. That's sort of the thing that's helpful in the moments. That's almost like your motivation, the thing that drives you and gets you up and gets you fired up. But then you have the 80%, which is far more important. And for me at the moment, I mean, for the last few years, the reason I've been training is actually just 100% for myself. I don't do it for anybody else, any other reason other than trying to be better for myself. And that's what I want for you as well. Now, this might just be, like I said, the 80%. For me right now, that's actually the 100%. I don't have any other external sources at all. It's just all about what I'm doing to better myself every day. The 80% is everything that's going on. The 80% is everything that's going on inside your head, everything that you're thinking about, and everything internal. So why do you want to build muscle? Why do you want to lose body fat? Why do you want to get in great shape? Is it because you want to improve the life of yourself and your close family, your parents maybe, the people that you love the most? Is it because you want to be healthier because now you have a kid and you want to make sure that when you grow up the child has a father around, or whatever that is? Everybody's reason is different. For me, I'm just trying to be the best version of myself every single day, and that includes my career, that includes my health, that includes my physique, that includes my happiness, and I tie all of those in together, and that's the reason I do what I do, because I'm trying to be the best I can be every single day. Now that might help you, that might actually be the reason for you as well, but you need to figure out and write down what that is. All of the steps I've been through so far from 6, and we still have 2 tips left, so don't go anywhere. You need to be writing these down step by step and have them on a piece of paper or in your phone or whatever you want to do, so that it's there, so that you can't fail like the other 95% do. And now for tip number 2, I've given you a lot of the tactics that you can use, but I actually want to ask you a question, which is, what happens if you don't? What happens if you don't be your best? What happens if you don't get this physique that you want or make those improvements every day that you want to do? How would that make you feel about yourself? How would that make you feel about the way you look? Are you feeling that way now? I don't know. Everybody's going to be slightly different, but a lot of you are going to feel really bad about yourselves, and that's okay. I'm not going to come on and tell you that you need to accept yourself and that you need to feel good all the time. It doesn't work like that. My personal opinion is you actually need to get honest with yourself. If you are overweight, you're making the effort to make a change. You're going to put the work in every single day, but spend 60 seconds to actually admit where you're at and say, okay, I am fat. And I think we're so soft now in the modern world that we don't actually be honest with ourselves, and it hurts us, and it's not going to help you accomplish your goals. Sometimes you need to say, okay, I am skinny and I need to do this, this and this so that I can't be, and this is how I'm going to do it, by watching a video like this and subscribing to a channel like this. Okay, I am fat right now. Yes, you are. You don't have to pound yourself with it every single day. You don't need to call yourself names. You don't have to do those things to yourself every single day by, saying I'm fat, I'm fat. It's just about saying it once. It's just about admitting the current situation that you're in and then figuring out how to get out of that situation. But I really want you to write down and think about what will happen if you don't get it. What will happen if you don't change the way that you look? For you, the way that you're feeling right now, you need to find out what that is. Only you know what you feel. I can't tell you what that is. You might feel unhappy, you might be frustrated, you might feel like you're ugly, you might feel, I don't know what that is. But whatever you do feel, it's real, it's a feeling, you're feeling that. And you need to work on improving that. But I know for me, it was all about self-confidence. My early days in school stripped my self-confidence from me. When I grew up, my parents and my family did a brilliant job of bringing me up. And I was very, very confident, very self-assured. But when I went through school and the teasing that I went through and being told that I'm not very good and things like that by even school teachers, that's totally stripped my confidence away. And so when I began, I never quit, I never took days off because I knew what I would feel like if I didn't do it. And every single workout I was doing, every single time I stuck to my nutrition, every time I seen, my chest pop a little more or my shoulders get a little bigger, all those things, it gave me self-confidence. And so I knew that I was building my confidence and my discipline step by step every single day. And I knew that if I didn't do that, I would go backwards. My confidence would start to go back down. And that was my reason. Again, yours will be different and you need to figure it out right now. The level of your results and the quality of your life are basically going to be determined by the quality of decisions that you make. So you've got an opportunity to download this free book. Do you know how many people will pass up on an opportunity? It's going to be a complete guide for a beginner, and I guess you're a beginner, but it's also going to be a guide as well for people who are intermediate. So it's got 25 pages of just pure value, from training advice, diet advice, everything, from start to finish. So my number one tip for this video, and it's been a great video, I hope you've enjoyed it, is you might be thinking now, James, well, what diet do I eat? Do I eat carnivore, vegan, ketogenic diet, intermittent fasting? What do I do next? And the answer to that question is you follow the diet and you follow the nutrition plan that one, you can stick to, and two, is enjoyable for you. So eat the foods that you enjoy. If you want to have some chocolate, maybe 100 calories worth of chocolate after every meal, and you enjoy that, you do that. As long as you can fit that into your calorie intake for the day, you do that. But the best diet for you is the one that you can stick to. Some people sleep 8 hours a night, work 8 hours a day, and have another additional 8 hours to do things. Some people work 15 hours a day. Some of you have 3 jobs. Everybody's situation is different. You might have 4 children and you have to work 16 hours a day. We're all totally different. And so the best plan for you is whatever you can stick to. You need to figure that out for yourself. You might have all day. You might have rich parents and you don't have to work. You might not have to go to school. You might have to go to school. It doesn't matter. There is a plan for you, but you have to figure out what that is. That is the best advice really that I can give you, is that whatever it is that you do, make sure you can stick to it. So if you're actually serious about your goals, you've actually made it to the end of this video, which I commend you for, and I really respect you for that, because it takes balls to actually make a change. It's sometimes scary, it's sometimes difficult, and whatever you do, don't forget to download the free book. Go through it, read it. It'll take you 30 minutes to read it. I purposely designed it to be read quickly so that people can't make excuses as to why they can't read it. It won't cost you a thing, and it's going to help you accomplish whatever you're trying to do. And my very last thing before I go is make sure all of these things that you've written down throughout this video, stick it on your bedroom wall, stick it on the fridge, wherever you go most, stick it on there, and you have it all planned out for you. Every single day you can look at that. Thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see you in Thursday's video.